Hi, I'm Chris Perkins with Motor One. We are at Northeast Off-Road Adventures in the Catskills with a Lexus LX700h Overtrail, a wonderful off-roader, and we're stuck. So we purposefully got this Lexus LX700h stuck because this is a triple locked off-roader. So we wanted to really give this thing a challenge. So right now the tires are basically slick with mud. All four of them, right? All four of them are slick with mud, and we're trying to see if we can get this thing unstuck. So we've tried a bunch of different things. Tried it without the lockers, tried it with just the center in the rear, and then center rear front. And we're gonna try the mud terrain mode on the multi-terrain select and see if it can figure it out, but we might just be stuck. Look at this. I love that the stream is running through the spokes of the wheel. We're using some traction boards here because we have caked these tires in mud, which this thing has a lot of amazing off-road hardware, but when your tires are basically slicks, you're not gonna go far. So that's where we're at right now. So we're just kind of moving around, repositioning our traction boards to get this, because
you can pull it forward?
Forward? Okay. Just again, yeah.
A little bit. Forward. So, all right, now, when you back up this time, I need you to build some speed.
Yeah.
Keep that momentum. That's what's gonna carry you through and out.
Onto the board, yeah, okay, cool.
Yup, keep it moving. Nice.
We're good?
That's good.
So we found the limit of the Lexus. This thing is actually really impressive off-road. So being an Overtrail, it gets 33-inch wheels and tires, same as the GX Overtrail, gets the front, center, and rear locking differentials. You get all of Lexus's off-road hardware, all of Toyota's, their good stuff, crawl control, all that fun. The Toyota trucks are all a bit of like a Lego set these days. Basically, you've got this GAF platform, Global Architecture Frame, meaning these are body on frame. So basically, Tacoma, the Tundra, the Sequoia, and the 4Runner are all based on the same platform, and then that platform is shared with Lexus for the GX and the LX. Oh, and I didn't mention the Toyota Land Cruiser, both the 250 series Land Cruiser that they sell in America and the 300 series that this is based on. So the thing I'm wondering about this LX700h is it worth it over the GX? Because the GX 550 is like thoroughly excellent. It was our SUV of the year last year, and it is so capable. It does just everything you want, and it's pretty affordable. I mean, the Overtrail model's $73,000, which is a lot of money, to be clear. It's not a cheap vehicle, but it's barely more than the Land Cruiser. It's a lot more luxurious, and it's super capable. This, to get the LX700 Overtrail, it's like starts like $113,000. This one, as tested, is $118,000. So $45,000 price difference between the GX Overtrail and the LX Overtrail. I think I get it. I think it's just money no object. It's the Land Cruiser, it's the big one, it's the flagship, but you know, the GX does 95% of the same thing as this does. It does add a lot of performance over the standard LX600, which just has the twin turbo V6. So you get about 50 more horsepower. It's 457, I believe, total in this. But the real big one is 583 pound-feet of torque. I mean, it's like 100 more pound-feet of torque than the non-hybrid version of this. And I mean, that's really kind of what defines this whole thing. It's just crazy torque output. You're just kind of idling the thing up hills. I mean, I'm doing what, 1100 revs right now, and it's just, engine's barely doing its thing. That plus 10 gears in a low range gearbox means your torque multiplication is pretty substantial, which for off-roading is very nice. So the cool thing with this is that it's designed to be driven very precisely. And what I mean by that is that you can kind of just let off the brake a little bit. You let off and then you kind of get back on it, and you can hold it at a constant level, or you do the same with the throttle, hold at a constant throttle, and it sort of figures everything out. That's not an easy thing to do when you've got these two power sources and you have this crazy torque of the hybrid drivetrain. I mean, on some level, it's actually probably harder to make a hybrid off-roader feel coherent and easy and predictable than it is a fully electric off-roader. Because with a fully electric off-roader, it's just one power source, you know, and you've got super precise control of it. But with this, you've got two things that are harder to control. So I think Lexus has done a really good job here managing that and making it really easy to drive. You can be really precise with it. You can drive this thing at like half a mile an hour over a rock bed, and it's super easy. Doing a hybrid off-roader like this it takes a lot of calibration work to make this possible, and they've done a really good job here making it drivable. The active height control system, there's a high 2 setting, which we've been using all day here, but it's constantly making adjustments. Like I came to a stop and it kind of just makes a little micro adjustment, and as you're moving, it makes micro adjustments. You don't have Toyota's kinetic dynamic suspension system, which is in a kind of a hydraulic sway bar adjust, but I don't know that you need it because you don't have a rear sway bar in this at all. So you don't have that system to kind of change the roll stiffness of the car. But the active height control system, it's all hydraulic. It's doing a bit of the springing force and the damping force. Plus you've got adaptive dampers. So even without the KDSS, which is an otherwise lovely piece of hardware, you get a lot of control over the vehicle's roll stiffness, which is what gives you articulation and thus traction off-road out here. I think if you're buying the Overtrail, if you're buying just a regular LX, yeah, you're cross-shopping it with an Escalade or a Mercedes GLS, maybe a Range Rover, all that stuff. But if you're buying an LX Overtrail, and I imagine that not a lot of people will, it's a pretty niche offering, you get that this is the pinnacle. You know, if you're disappointed that the new Toyota Land Cruiser, the 250 series, isn't the big full fat thing, buy one of these. So I think what you're looking at here really says it all. You know, I was a little skeptical of the off-road abilities of this thing. And if you look at some of the, the stats on paper, it doesn't seem that impressive. But actually, this thing has unbelievable articulation, amazing traction. The torque is just incredible. And you're reminded that, yes, this has a Lexus badge and it's an LX700h, but this is really the Land Cruiser. And it really embodies the Land Cruiser spirit of get you out of any situation, no problem. Or even, with the help of some traction boards. But I'm very, very impressed with this, more so than I thought. And yes, it's a lot more money than the GX. Is it worth it? For most people, for the vast majority of people, probably not. But there is something here, and money no object, I totally get why you'd buy one of these.